I remember sitting on the chair and Mum brushing my hair and there was a spot.
I started getting patches around here.
Sort of started with an eyebrow going and eyelashes going.
And then it grew back fully and then I lost everything. So my eyebrows, my eyelashes and all my hair.
Waking up in the morning, it was all over a pillow and coming out all in the shower, and it just was so fast and so, I don't know, it was very aggressive.
Saw a dermatologist and they said it's probably genetic. There will be a genetic predisposition in my family somewhere to alopecia.
Dad and Mum took me everywhere and anywhere to try and find something that would cure alopecia.
I missed a lot of school for going for treatments and stuff.
I had to take these pills and then it made me sensitive to UV and to light.
I used to take her to acupuncture, but she would scream and carry on and not want to go. So
it was needles.
So we forgot that.
Stuck into me.
They put a ring of steroids around where the hair falls out.
We tried topical creams. They all do the same thing, trying to stimulate hair growth, and you had to rub it on your head and it caused a reaction, I think, but that really hurt too.
You know, you search for an answer for it, and if there isn't, you know, you try everything. Yeah, but basically nothing was successful.
Who turned the lights off way down low? Who turned the mics off at my show? Who made my life turn shades of grey? Who took the light out from my day? Take my time to be free.
When I was little, I would never have comprehended that people would have looked at me differently because I was just the same as far as I was concerned.
When will the sky be a lighter shade of blue? When will the clouds be whiter too? Where will the flame trees?
I remember that time in the surf at Waihi. Yeah, and you went in, didn't you, into the water, and you came back out and you didn't have it, and then we couldn't find it because it was in the surf. We didn't know where it was.
I came out without it and I put my t-shirt on my head and I was like, Mayday, Mayday. And then everyone had to run down and Dad was panicking because he thought I was going to get pulled out to sea and we were never going to see it again. And then so I started panicking because I was never going to have hair, and then it was terrible. I wore a headband all the time through my childhood, and Mum kept saying that she kept trying to get me not to wear it, but I insisted on wearing it, so I had no hair and a headband, which when I think about it now is stupid, but I was just really attached to it. I think it might have been like a velvety sort of fabric, and it was maybe like this big, and it was like everyone else was probably wearing them in their hair, and so I was probably just wearing one because everyone else was. I remember one time we were at McDonald's and Gavin Larson, the cricketer, was signing caps and autographs and all that stuff, and I went up to him, and I used to wear a black caps hat over top of my mesh wig, and I went up to him and looked up at him and to get him to sign my cap, but then he tried to take it off my head, which now seems logical that he would try to take it off, but he pulled my hair off with it, and so I was just like, and then looked up at him, and then he just signed it on my head, and then I ran back to Dad and I was like, Gavin Larson just pulled my hair off, and Dad just started laughing, and so I had to start laughing.
When will new music?
It would have been about a year ago. I had had surgery and they think it was a side effect of some of the anaesthetic. I would sit in the shower and run my fingers through my hair and just pull out clumps of it, and it got so bad that I had to shave all my hair off. I was a mess for about 2 weeks before I shaved it off, and as part of dealing with it, I got my friends to help me raise money for a wig. I got them to give me $10 and they all shaved a section of my hair.
Strip up.
And I got about $200 and got a custom made wig in America. It was green and purple and yellow and everything. And that was probably the best way I had of dealing with it, because it meant that when I shaved my hair I actually had something to remind me that everybody still cared even if I had no hair. I've been quite sick since I was about 17, and because of that, when something happens I don't tend to worry about it too much, or if I do, it's only bad for a couple of weeks and it just becomes a part of my life. So I figured it wasn't so bad losing my hair. I could be in a much worse position, but I would quite like to see how long my hair can grow, if it'll grow. About 2 weeks ago my hair started falling out again, and now I have a large bald patch in the middle of my head. It's kind of obvious because it sits right in the middle of the hair fall line, and it's from my crown, so it was a bit too obvious and I couldn't cover it up.
Take my time to be free.
Within a matter of 2 weeks, I literally went from being a normal little girl to finding out that I had alopecia, which was really scary and quite horrifying.
When will new music take these keys?
I'm fine with it. Like, I've accepted it, and that was a really long process, and that it was only until I sort of started modelling, and I always credit that I would, if I hadn't have done modelling, then I would have been a completely different person than I am today, because I was so you know, like I was bullied, I had no self-esteem, I was meek and I was timid and all these things, and modelling sort of made me grow self-confidence and sort of come out of my shell. So yeah, if I hadn't have done that, I think I'd be a very different person to who I am today. And I think the fact that I was a model, because of my hair, instantly kind of like, it kind of gave me like a reason for having alopecia, and like that was totally fine, because oh, she's a model and she models bald, and it's, people love it in the fashion world, and that people think the fashion industry is so exciting, and models are, I mean, traditionally models meant to be, you know, like glamazonian and like beautiful hair and everything's perfect, and I suddenly redefined that, and people were like, oh, that can actually be beautiful as well. And I think that, as lame as it sounds, made a difference to how people viewed beauty and viewed me, and realised that I could, you know, still be beautiful without my hair. When you're a teenager, you want to blend and you all want to be the same, and you want to look like whatever you think you're meant to look like, and anyone who's different, you kind of push them out and outcast them. You don't understand why people want to be different. No, and I didn't want to be different at this age. I would have loved to have long hair and I could tie it in a high ponytail and, you know, swim and my hair would flick back all nicely. I remember always wanting that, or to sit in the shower and be able to like feel your own hair. And I just think that people were mean because of that, and they didn't get to know me. They judged me from that. Your hair makes you feel like a woman, and when, you know, back when I was younger, you know, when I was still modelling, I was like really, really skinny and really, really flat chested, and I always felt quite boyish without my hair on, because it takes away that, I don't know, part of feeling like a woman and sexy and all those sort of things. So I never sort of showed them, and I knew they wouldn't deal with it well if I did. And then I've had boyfriends that I have shown, and they're like semi-okay with it, but it's not like that, you know, you can just tell it's not sitting right with them. Like, they do find it hard to deal with, and you know, and I don't necessarily blame them, because it took me ages to accept myself looking in the mirror and looking like that. But then with Jay now, he's like, he's like, you just look the same, there's no difference. It's not like, oh, Anna with wig and Anna without. He's like, you could walk in with your wig on, then walk out, and then come back into the room with it off, and he wouldn't be like, oh, your wig's off. He's like, it's just part of you. And he's sort of the only person who's really ever been amazing with it. It's just not he doesn't see it as a big deal as well. He's sort of like, it's just what you've got, and it's you, and it makes you who you are. Our hair is such a statement. The way you style it, you colour it, whatever, it is part of, people look at it as part of like femininity.
I think if I didn't wear the wig, then I would receive a lot more attention than I necessarily wanted. So having the wig allows me to just blend in and get on with my life how I want to get on with my life, because I think other people's reaction to me not wearing the wig would interfere with me just getting on with my life. So that's a huge part of why I would wear it.
It's just presenting yourself to the world. I mean, if you've got no hair, you look very different. So people want to replace that because they didn't ask this condition to happen to them. It happened because it happened. So they need something so they can present themselves to the world so they feel comfortable.
It's quite ironic, the fact that the reason why we have to get new wigs is that the wigs kind of get alopecia themselves. They start balding. To get it off, it's so easy. You literally just put your thumb under the back, and if you let air in, it stops the suction and stops the vacuum, so you can pull it off. I cut in all these little short bits underneath, and that's what helps when you tie it up in a ponytail to look more natural. Otherwise you get this really harsh line which doesn't look real. So I line that up with there, and I always just do it with my thumb because I can feel it, and then you just flick it over, and then you have the little ear bits that come down in front of your ears, and you sort of line them up. I sort of measure them to make sure it's on straight. And then as soon, like right now you could lift it off and pull it off, but as soon as you push, and you push all the hair, the air out, it creates that vacuum, and then it's, you know, you can tug it and it's on there good. And it's that easy. It's really, really simple.
If you've got long-term, extensive hair loss, you need a wig that is going to do the job. And a freedom wig is the wig that I would suppose is going to do that.
So with the freedom wig, I can still play netball and go swimming and do everything that I normally would do. But most other wigs have like a mesh fitting, so you need to wear like a cap and then put the wig on, and I don't think, we definitely wouldn't be able to go swimming in them and stuff like netball. I'd probably just have to play without it. So it comes and it's kind of like a grudge wig, and it's just like cousin it sort of thing. And when I first get them, I refused to get them cut for ages when I was little, because I just loved having all this like thick hair around my face, but I couldn't see, and so eventually I would have to get them cut. And yeah, I think the only thing with that is you just have to be cautious how you get it cut, because once it's cut, it's cut.
So recently I was appointed the Global Ambassador for Global Alopecia Mission, GAM for short, and it's a charity that's solely been set up to fund research. All of their money that they get is going into research. As I said, there's been absolutely none done in like the past 30 years, and we don't know any more on it. At the end of the day, there is something terribly wrong. Like, I've lost all of the hair of my body. It's a very odd thing to happen, and so they are doing massive research into it. So hopefully one day they will. I mean, the end goal is to find a cure, because even though we can live with it and it's fine, like, it would be better not to. Like, I'm really accepting of it, but there are so many people where alopecia like rules their lives and destroys it, and they find it, you know, they've never shown their husband their bald head and just generally don't feel good about themselves. And it's, you know, even though I'm fine with it and I might not need a cure at the moment and I can live with it happily, I you know, if I can do anything to help other people.
I think it's just your attitude towards it, and it doesn't stop me doing anything, and I know it doesn't stop a lot of other people doing anything. So you can either let it define you, or you can just accept it and deal with it, I think.
Time to run my fingers through my hair again, feeling fine to make this time I'm living mine. Take my time to be free. Start a brand new piece. When will the color through my specs reflect the heat?